When I was in high school, about 1970, I used to go over to a friend of mine's house. We'd listen to music, and he had this. He was mostly into Zappa and some, some pretty far out stuff. But he had this compilation album put out by Warner Brothers, and it had Uncle John's Band as one of them. I said, "Oh," and I'd never even heard of the Grateful Dead. I mean, maybe, but that was the first song I heard. I said, yeah, that's a pretty good song.
My brother Rich had Working Man's Dead, and so I didn't, I listened to it, but really didn't get into it. But a college buddy that lived on the same hall, Bob Ozello, his nickname was OZ, and he was from Briarcliff Manor, New York, and he was just a huge Dead fan. And I hadn't even heard the term Deadhead at that point, and he just turned us on to some tapes and things, and of course Working Man's, not only Working Man's Dead, but American Beauty, those sorts of things, and I was like, wow. So that really is what started it, as far as an interest in the band. At that time I hadn't seen them.
We're talking 1977, we're talking about probably the first big nationwide tour that the band did. And the Dead, as we remember the Dead, weren't a thing yet. At least not the whole thing that we remember. They were a band on tour. They had some reputation, they had some vibe around them, but they were not the Dead yet. That was later.
May 25th, 1977 was my first show for the Grateful Dead.
That was like my second show.
I have a feeling a lot of people saw the Dead live for the first time on this tour.
I was looking forward to it. I mean, there was some buzz around town about it.
Cornell is a sort of the holy grail, they say, of live shows, and of course this was only a few weeks afterwards.
In 1977, I was 27.
I was 23.
24. So yeah, youngster.
I had been writing for the Richmond Times-Dispatch for 6 years, covering not just rock music, but also I was a reporter.
I believe I got tickets at a record store. Tickets at that time were $8.50. That was the day the first Star Wars movie came out. It was actually a Wednesday, so I'm sure I had to go to work the next day.
There was like 6 of us in other groups that we went together, and we were couples.
It must have been pleasant outdoors. We strolled around for a while. It was kind of anticipatory, like it is for most shows. I mean, there were groups of people hanging out, probably smoking and stuff in the Monroe Park. I was fairly coherent that night. I had ingested a few mushrooms beforehand.
After we parked, we kind of queued up and went in and got our seats. So we weren't there a long time, but we didn't meander around outside.
I was sitting in the 8th row from the stage, so pretty good seats.
We were in the orchestra section, I think about midway back, but it was on the right side, very intimate. And you're like, oh wow, this is really something.
Very playful inside. I know they were like 2 or 3 beach balls being battered around like they do in some shows. A lot of hoop, some hooping and hollering.
What I remember that night, just the excitement of the show, once it really got cranking.
The style of the music was so open-ended.
The vocals Jerry's voices were really on. Donna's was on. and it just sounded that the acoustics were just really clear. And one that always just seemed to resonate is Peggy. It just had such a great beat to it, and the drive on it, and just Jerry was just soaring on that. That was always one of my favorites. Scarlet, Into Fire, and this was the first time I'd ever heard that live. And so that was like, they just came out the second set just smoking with that.
When I was talking about being lifted out of time and space in that hall, the show had gone on long enough that the people who remained, and people come and go from concerts, of course, but the people who were there had gotten onto the wavelength of the group.
People were there to have a good time, and they didn't let us down.
Theaters were designed to, take you to another world. In the case of the Mosque, that was a Shriners Hall, so there's a Masonic thing going on there, right? And, but it was still very atmospheric.
If you go back, it was all really good, but they really seemed to catch fire and good momentum about midway through the first set. And carried it on into the second.
This Richmond show, that's definitely started me on the road. So that's got to be top 3 maybe.
When they came to Richmond in '77, that was the first opportunity to see them, but see them in a really intimate venue, just the acoustics and everything. So that just stands out. That one really stands out.
They were a country band, they were a folk band. Sometimes in their longer jams, they approached being a jazz band.
It was always joyous, it was always fun.
'77 was the tightest the band has ever been. I mean, listening to that show on headphones, I mean, the harmonies were there. There were like no mistakes.
It was just a really nice moment. It was all up to me that '77 was kind of a nice moment in time. I was just a big fan, and it always was a big event at any of their shows. And so that's the biggest thing. I think just the excitement of any of the shows and the friends that you were going with and the experiences you had with them.